excited faces this afternoon. I'm Bob Hale. I'm the Director of Unified Sports for CIAC and Special Olympics Connecticut. And I'll just highlight our staff here and let them introduce themselves. So let's see if I can get John there.
I'm John Niski. I'm the Assistant Director for Unified Sports. Thanks for being here.
Paul.
Hi, everyone. I'm Paul Mango. I'm the Associate Director of Unified Sports here at the CIAC, and welcome back, everyone.
Barb.
I'm Barb Horn. I'm a member of the Unified staff, and in particular, you might hear from me with regards to Unified Champion Schools, young athletes in elementary, and looking forward to a robust year of Unified.
Carol.
Hi, I'm Carol Brzezowski. I'm the one who sends you all your messages and emails. So I look forward to a exciting 2022-2023, our 30th year doing this with the CIAC of Special Olympics Connecticut. So welcome, everybody.
I'm going to jump right into our PowerPoint, and let me just bring that up. Like Carol said, this is our 30th year of operation between CIAC and Special Olympics Connecticut. And we have a storied program and one of the most respected in the country, and that's because of you folks. The coaches are really the linchpin of our program. We appreciate everything you do. And if there's anything we can ever do to help out, please let us know. Get this working here. There we go. And we just have a quick video to share with you.
Years.
Not hearing any audio, Bob.
Not hearing it.
Fortunately, it's short enough that by the time you fixed it, it'll be over.
So a little motivation and say why we're all back. You've all been back for a few weeks now. I hope it's going well for you. If you're excited about Unified this year, just put ones in the chat. Just go ahead and just enter as many ones as you are excited. One exciting development is you probably heard Bo Doherty retired as president of Special Olympics Connecticut. Mike Mason, who has been the longtime financial guy at the Special Olympics Connecticut, has taken over as president and CEO. Mike is a huge supporter of Unified, and I think we'll have a pretty What's that? So I think we'll have a pretty seamless transition. If you have your microphone unmuted, please mute it unless you're going to say something that will help the feedback. We have a number of sports that we offer. Most of you know this. We're getting ready for soccer season. We open up with our ESPN soccer kickoff at Bristol Central High School on the 29th. And then we go through the early part of November for soccer, basketball. Our tournaments typically happen in February and the beginning of March, but schools start playing basketball right after soccer season, it seems. So we want to hear all about your your soccer seasons, your basketball seasons, with your participation outside of our CIAC events as well. We have some bowling tournaments around the state. We started cornhole last year. That's been very exciting for us, and we're looking forward to adding more of those events. We've got track and field in the spring, which really took off very well last year. And our elementary skill days and young athletes celebrations kind of round out the year. Those typically happening in the spring. Lots of other schools playing lots of other sports, including bocce, kickball, flag football, fishing, cheerleading, tennis, volleyball. Anybody have anything else that they're doing out there? Feel free to chime in. Okay. Our tournaments are up on our site and ready to register for, and we hope you'll do that. And we just ask you to limit it to 2 CIAC tournament entries per school. Just so that we have enough capacity to handle all the schools that we want. That doesn't include league tournaments, which are also on our site. You can sign up for 2 CIAC plus a league tournament. We're going to try, I'll get to more about this later, but we're going to try offering a leadership training for high school students as part of our YAC program, Saturday, October 15th at the CAS offices. I'll get to more about that in another slide. We've just confirmed a date and a keynote speaker for our Youth Leadership Summit, which is going to be December 6th. And we're going to do that hopefully as a hybrid. So we're hoping to have folks in attendance. Our venue is going to be Valley Regional High School in Deep River. And we're also going to be simulcasting that for folks who can't make it. We still know that there are issues with buses, with substitute coverage, and we're hoping to involve as many folks as possible. Our Unified Sports Awards, we were glad to be back in person last year. Those will be May 1st this year, which is a Monday. We'll do our One Athlete, One Partner Awards, our Michael's Cup Awards, our Rookie of the Year Awards, our Coaches Awards, AD Awards, and our essay winners. So it's a big night, lots of stuff in preparation for that. And we're going to ask that regardless of whether you're registering for our tournaments or not, that every team fill out a master team roster. That will let us know what teams are participating, even if they're not participating in one of our events, and also give us an idea of numbers, of partners and athletes. And it's also a benefit for you when you're registering an event, you have that master list already in there, and you can just copy that and reuse that in your subsequent registrations. Anybody has any questions as we go along, just jump in, unmute yourself, and just ask, because I can't really see my whole screen worth of participants.
Hi, Bob. This is Donald Casey Jr. Where do we sign up the master roster list?
It's on our registration page. We'll get to that soon, Don, and we'll show you exactly how to do that.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. We have the opportunity again to have teams play at Mohegan Sun in conjunction with the CIAC basketball championships. Christy Comiskey, who is part of the CIAC media team, put together this little compilation of some great elements of our unified games this past year. I just thought I'd share that with you. So let's start that over. Oh, better if I do it correctly.
On every word, every single one. So this is no phone, I'm just a stay on, Have all bad days on, I'm about to blind guy. Have our eye on beauty is my kryptonite. I don't wanna go another night. And when push comes to shove, forever is never enough. So this is
Yeah, that last shot was incredible. And they were also shooting in front of their home team, which makes it really exciting. So here is just a sample page of our registration. It's not this year's, but it's similar to what you'll see if you log into our page and go to the high school, middle school registrations. Again, when you register, choose a maximum of 2 CIAC events per school per season. And the master roster, you can just do that by itself, or you can do that in conjunction with other registrations. You would just check the master team roster box. And if you also wanted to register for a tournament, you just check that 1 or 2, or if it's a league tournament, 3 tournaments that you want to submit that for. Does that make sense, Don?
Yes, thank you very much.
Sure. Yeah, I just want to make sure it was clear. And I appreciate
Bob, I have a
the-
question.
Yeah.
What if we need to edit our master team roster? Can we do that? Can we go back in and do that somehow, or do we enter it again?
We would ask that you not delete anybody because they did participate at some point. But if you need to add people, you could email us and we could add them.
Okay,
I mean, if you have a whole nother team to add, like a whole group of people, you could put a second master team roster in.
okay, gotcha.
Correct.
All right,
Yeah, thank
If
you.
it's
Good
1 or
question.
2 people, then just email us and we can update it.
Yeah, excellent. I see we're up to 44 participants, which is great. I appreciate it. If you haven't already, please put your information in the chat so that we know you are here. Sometimes the usernames don't indicate who you really are. So just give us your name, your school, and if you don't mind, your email, just so we can double check that we have that correct. So I'll save the chat later before we stop, and we'll have that information. And Paul, you want to talk about certification for anybody who may have a question about that? All right, well, let me talk about certification. This meeting for Unified Sports Training covers the soccer season and just, general information for the beginning of the school year. Every school needs to have a certified coach by Connecticut law. It's really the school's responsibility to monitor that. If you're a teacher, you just need to complete first aid, CPR, AED training, and apply for your certification, and you'll get it without the 45 clock hours. If you're not a certified teacher, there is a 45 clock hour program that you'll need to complete to get the certification, but I believe you can get a pending one, pending taking that course. There's also a Unified Sports Coaches Training. It's just a 1-hour class online through the National Federation of High Schools, NFHS. And that's a great little training. You also get a certificate to add to your file for that. And the concussion training is part of your responsibility as well. And that's on the CIC website. Another option we'll be making available to you as soon as we find out more about the specifics is that the Unified Champion Schools has online training also available that's sports specific for Unified coaches, that's specific to Unified. So that may be of interest to you as well. And once we find that information out, we'll send out a notice. And if you're interested, you can let us know. We'll get you signed up.
Oh, is she? Oh, that's okay. God forbid I do one thing at a time.
So CIC has a coaching education site, and you can access the resources you need there. The coaching applications are linked there. The concussion program is linked there. If you need
Back out.
renewal or coaching permit, you can get that information
I'm
there
gonna
as
wait
well.
because I'm gonna finish this. Thank you. I thought. That's thank you.
Oh, I went to the wrong spot here. There we go. And John, did you want to mention Unified Classroom?
Sure, Bob. The Unified Classroom .org website, generationunified.org down at the bottom of the screen there, provides an unbelievable amount of free resources that you can use in your classroom or with your teams. If you have opportunity before practice or after practice while you're waiting to get into the gym, or you have a meeting during the school day and you want a quick little lesson, there are a ton of great free resources and lessons that are connected directly to the Google Classroom or through Microsoft working environment. It's a brand new website that has a ton of great videos, lesson plans, activities, worksheets, just really great stuff. It's generationunified.org under the Unified Classroom. So if you're involved in any way in special education or Unified Sports, you want to check out the Unified or Generation Unified website.
Great. And we'll make this presentation available so that you can access all of the links that are built in. So Barb, you want to talk about Unified Champion Schools and how those three components work and some of those opportunities?
Surely. Yes, a lot of you probably are very familiar with this, but I'd like to take 2 seconds just to clarify some very understandably confusing lingo labels. What is Unified Champion Schools to start? It's actually the description, the label for a national program and a national model The program provides resources and funding to the different states, including Connecticut. So the overarching national program is referred to as Unified Champion Schools. Within that, like I said, there's a model. It's a three-pronged model of 3 components of unified sports, whole school engagement, and inclusive youth leadership, with the understanding that those 3 components working together can create the most effective changes in your school climate with regard to inclusion and acceptance. And Unified Champion Schools also refers to all of you. We see each of you as a unified champion school committed to, as I said, changing your school climate through those 3 components. There is another label that you'll hear referred to as National Banner Recognition or a National Banner Unified Champion School. Those schools have taken those 3 components, raised them to a higher level, have met certain criteria for 10 items of sets of criteria that have been set by a national board of recognition. So I know that sometimes people hear Unified Champion Schools and they immediately think that refers to those schools who receive national banner recognition. But we look at all of you as being part of the Unified Champion Schools umbrella and as Unified Champion Schools. Did you have more slides for me, Bob, or?
Yeah, there's a few.
Okay. And one of the character, I just want to step back for a second. One of the characteristics of a Unified Champion School is inclusive youth leadership. And what that means simply is that people of all levels of ability have opportunities to be leaders. So athletes and partners both are involved in leadership activities. And one of the opportunities that Special Olympic North America provides is a youth innovation grant. That is a number of Connecticut schools have applied for those grants. The current cycle 9 is due October 21st. I know that it's new, it's early in the year, but we know that you have some super student leaders that are looking for opportunities to make change in the school. So they would complete an application. The funding is up from between $500 to $2,000. They have 6 to 9 months to complete the project. And just to give you an example of some of the the projects that have utilized this funding is we've had a school that purchased Fitbits for their athletes because they realized they didn't have access to some of the same fitness tools that other students did. A school created a Be Kind mural to spread the message of inclusion in their schools. I was looking at a list of schools really across the country and around the world that have had student projects, anything from I saw one, it was they had their own AGT instead of America's Got Talent, it's Athletes Got Talent, and they used their funding to showcase talents within their school. Others have used it to bring in mentors or trainers for their students, in particular to help students develop presentation skills. Others have used it to create unified cheer events. Really, the sky is the limit. So I would encourage any of your students that are looking to make a change to apply for this innovation grant. There are usually a couple cycles within the year, but I can't guarantee that. So this particular cycle, the applications are due on the 9th, October 21st. And we'll provide that link to that Youth Innovation Grant in our post-meeting communications. Want to congratulate this year's National Banner Unified Champion schools. Lyme High School, Haddam Killingworth Middle School, Jeffrey Elementary School in Madison, and Watertown High School. Banner schools are able to renew their status as a Banner Unified Champion School every 4 years. And this year we have Nonawag High School, South Windsor High School, Stafford Middle School, and Wilton High School have all renewed their banner status. They'll be getting new banners, and this is really an opportunity for you to showcase your programs, either at a Board of Ed meeting, at an assembly, because this really is a recognition for the entire school. The team, Unified Sports Team, is the core, but it really is a recognition for the entire school. The applications for banner recognition usually go out in the spring. I do usually send some information out in the fall. So if your students are interested, how do we become a banner school? You'll know what the criteria is ahead of time and what you need to work towards. These are just some examples of whole school engagement, bands in the stands, morning announcement, athletic awards ceremonies, Our Word or inclusion campaigns, Penguin Plunge fundraiser, your students. Again, a lot of this, we want it to be student-led, and your students may have, I'm sure, lots of ideas as to way to incorporate the whole school in supporting unified sports. And we talked about youth leadership and the potential for grant money to support these inclusive youth leadership activities.
Our sponsors are really critical to our success. Our continuing sponsors this year are Connecticut, the Connecticut chapter of the Club Management Association, which is a association of golf course professionals, ESPN, Hoffman Auto, Hometown Foundation, and this year the Connecticut Elks are joining us in a big way. They're very excited to be part of Unified Sports with us this year. I mentioned earlier that we're looking forward to some exciting things with Youth Activation Council. We would really ask that every high school designate a partner and an athlete to participate as part of the Youth Activation Council. And you can send 2 unified pairs if that works for you. Kids who are willing to share ideas and best practices with each other, learn about the opportunities that are available, maybe work on a school inclusion project. And last year, our great partner, Arik Jackson, who's spoken at a couple of our youth summits and done some training with many of our teams, did a speech to the Oxford High School, and then afterwards ran a leadership training program just for their athletes and partners. And the response was just phenomenal to that. Their kids all sent reactions in, and they were to a person exemplary. So we're going to bring Arik Jackson here Saturday, October 15th at the Cass CIAC offices for these students to meet with, get that same training, and kind of kickstart our Youth Activation Council this year. So we're asking all of our high school folks to identify at least one partner and one athlete, if possible, 2 partners, 2 athletes, to participate with that. And you can send their names and their contact info to Carol Brzezowski at our office. We'll also communicate directly with you as well. Sometimes we find that we cannot communicate directly with students if we're getting their school email. A lot of times they're blocked to outside communication. So
Yep.
we'll always include
I'm
the
not that far away.
coaches involved with that communication as well. I think it's going to be a really exciting day. We'll get more details out about it, but take advantage of that now. And we've got 3 weeks to go till that's going to happen. So we've got to move on it to get that onto kids' calendars. So you may want to take into account which kids might be available to do that as well. Thank you. And our social media guru, John Niski. We're very active on Facebook. We want to get more active on Twitter and Instagram, but those are all of our addresses. John, you have anything you want to add about that?
Just that it's really important for schools to promote their programs through social media, both the students and their classmates really respond to what's going on, whether it be on Instagram or Twitter, and the grandparents and the parents can see it on Facebook. And the more that it gets out there in the social media world, the better it is for your programs and for your schools and the support that we have. If you utilize the hashtag Play Unified CT when you make a post, that will make it easy for others within our community to see and share and possibly repost some of the things that are out there. One of the things that you certainly want to make sure that you do with your team at the beginning of the year or each season is to make sure that you don't have any students or athletes on your team or even paras or anybody that will be photographed. Make sure that you have permission for them to be photographed and for that to be posted. But it's a great opportunity for us to promote the program and for you to promote your schools across the board.
Yeah, and I would add, if you have a specific social media presence for your unified program, please let us know what that is so that we can follow you as well. We know about a few, but I'm sure we don't know about them all. So send us an email and we'll be glad to support you as well.
Just a quick note that last winter during the state championship basketball games at Mohegan Sun, the unified basketball posts were getting way more traffic than any of the other basketball events and games that were happening at the state championship. And it was really exciting for our program statewide.
Absolutely. We have programs for all age groups from preschool right up through high school and beyond. And if you are in a district that doesn't have a program at a specific level, please encourage your colleagues at those levels. We do have grant funding available to help them get started, and let us know who the contact person is, and we'll reach out to them and they can reach out to us. And we're always looking to grow into a new great school and help them out. If you get this this presentation, this is a longer video, but it's kind of inspiring. And I'm going to end this portion of the meeting with this program, but we're going to stay on.
We are not just athletes.
We are the ambassadors of an uprising.
Peaceful protesters in rebellion against anyone
Who has a fear of difference.
Our demands are
Equality, dignity,
and the recognition of our shared humanity.
We will not stop or accept anything less.
We are deserving.
When we compete, we're fighting for a more inclusive world.
We are champions on the field and for this cause.
Today, our world is more divided than ever.
And coming together has never been more urgent.
Revolution is inclusion!
And it's not optional.
The only choice you need to make is how you'll join it.
So we really appreciate you joining us. That's the part of the general meeting for all coaches. We're going to go into some more specifics about soccer rules, basketball rules, exactly how to register for a tournament. If you're comfortable with that and you have somewhere else to be, we more than understand and appreciate you being here. Just make sure that you've left your information in the chat for us. And we're going to move on as soon as I can figure this part out to the other PowerPoint. And bear with me for just a second. Now I can share the new one. So,
Bob, can you get rid of those black boxes? Is that possible?
which black boxes?
There's a black one covering the top right now, but there was one on the side.
I don't see it.
You don't see them?
No.
Maybe it's just me.
No, no.
No, I see it.
Can you see the slide where it says permission forms, or is that covered up?
Right above it is covered up.
That's my toolbar. I don't know how to move that.
Oh, okay. And then there was something on the side before, which must have been something else you had open then.
Probably.
There you
Yeah.
go. That's better.
I just put my toolbar at the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah, so one of the things that you want to be cognizant of is that every school has school athletic permission forms. And you want to make sure that you have one for your partners and athletes as well. Just acknowledges that they have their parents' permission to participate and that they're signing off. And you have permission to work with them. They have permission to go on a bus to games, all that kind of thing. And you can usually handle that in one permission slip rather than one for each event. You may have some Down syndrome athletes who have a condition called atlantoaxial instability. There is a release form that is a link to, and it has to do with poor muscle tone and joint issues. And it's probably already on file with your school nurse if they have that condition. But if you need to double check that, you can get that form at that location, something their doctor would identify. And make sure that you have emergency contact information for everybody and that you bring that with you to another school, to one of our events, in case someone gets hurt and you need to contact a parent to pick them up or get them to meet them at a clinic or whatever it might be. Thankfully, we don't have very many injuries in unified sports, but it can happen. And you want to make sure you have them both for your athletes and your partners, and also include a form for you and any other adults who may be traveling with the team, because things can happen to you or them, and you want to have that information available for those folks as well. We mentioned the master team roster in the previous session, but we would like you to register your teams, whether or not you're going to participate in our events, just so we have a kind of a census about who's participating, how many partners and athletes we have out there, and keeps us cognizant of what's going on across the state. athletes and partners make up a unified program. We see some odd variations sometimes that really the unified sports is just athletes, which are our disabled students, either intellectually disabled or other developmental disabilities. And the partners are kind of an add-on, or sometimes they're referred to as helpers or mentors. But really partners is the operative term. They're equals of the students with disabilities. They do assist them, but they're not in charge of them. You know, we're trying to develop a relationship of equality and inclusion, not of somebody being in charge of somebody else. I'm not saying that very well. So our athletes are those who are intellectually disabled, which is the focus of Special Olympics. But in unified sports, we include other developmental disabilities as well, including autism, learning disabilities. But whoever you say should be an athlete, we're not going to disagree with you. Our partners are non-disabled peers. Some of them may have mild disabilities and prefer to be known as a partner instead of an athlete, and that's fine with us. So we're just about ready to begin soccer season. And I think, John, you're going to take over with the soccer rules.
Yes, sir. So we're excited to get going with soccer. We have about, including league tournaments, there are about 15 different tournaments statewide that you have the opportunity to take advantage of, in addition to any single games that you might want to set up with another school. You know, Derby plays against Shelton, or Lyman Hall against Sheehan. If you do set up any of those school-to-school games that are not tournaments, please let us know about them so that we can keep a record of the amount of participation that's going on. But rules specific to soccer is that you should have about 12 players, no more than really 12 players on a full team. Because soccer is a pretty active event, you're going to want to have substitutions coming in and coming out. There are really only 6 players on the field at any time, including the goalie. So you want to have some substitutes on your bench, but you also don't want to have too many. If you're going to have it, some of the larger programs may have 60, 70 students together combined. You may want to register as having multiple teams. But each of those teams, at least 50% of the team, the makeup of the team should be non-disabled partners, and the other 50% would be your athletes. All of our programs, including soccer, are co-ed, and they play together. And you're going to, as you enter your teams for either a league tournament or a state CIAC tournament, if you're going to enter through the registration process, put one entry for each team. For each team, if you go to a different event, you need to have at least one coach, an adult, who's going to be in charge of that team while they're playing on a field, so that if, for example, Oxford High School has 3 teams and they come to a tournament, all 3 teams could be playing on a different field at the same time. You want to make sure that there's someone available to supervise those students and coach those students at the same, all at the same time. So that's important. As far as players on the field, Bob, if you go to the next screen, there are 5 players on the field plus the goalie. And the goalie must be an athlete, and that athlete really needs to be somebody who is ambulatory, who can move around, so that they don't get hurt. Our athletes and our partners can kick a soccer ball sometimes very, very well. If it's a level 5 event, which is our lowest skill level, students with wheelchairs. And if you need to have aides on the field with somebody in a wheelchair to push them around, we don't count those as players on the field. It is important because part of the philosophy of unified sports is it is competitive. And depending upon the level of play, level 1 is the most competitive, level 5 would be the least competitive. However, competition is a big part of it. So we want to keep the competition fair and equal. So we really need you to stick to the number of partners and athletes on the field at the same time, and we'll all have a good, positive, competitive experience. If you go to the next slide, we'll talk about the uniforms. Teams really need to wear uniforms. We are trying very hard, as are you, to elevate your programs to the same status and importance in your school community as any other sport or program. And so uniforms are a must. And during soccer, sneakers must be worn, no jeans, no jewelry, no sponsors. And this piece right here in the middle is a very critical piece, especially for new coaches. The numbers, the jersey numbers, the uniform numbers. So if the athletes must wear even numbered jerseys, and the non-disabled partners must wear the odd numbered jerseys. And that will allow everybody who's at the event to really understand what's going on and how things are going on. Other things that you want to bring with you is you want to have your school banner. We will have at the beginning of the tournament, typically a procession of teams coming in, and you want to have a banner with your school name on it. If you currently do not have a school banner, please reach out to myself or someone here at the office, and we will set you up with our banner grant program, and we'll make sure that everybody has a quality banner. You also want to make sure you have bring your own water and medical kit, just a basic medical kit with maybe an ice pack and some duct tape in there, just in case something happens. Most of our CIAC tournaments and a lot of the league tournaments, there will be a trainer or somebody around, but you want to be responsible for your own stuff. Moving on to the games themselves on the next slide, they run 18 minutes running time from the time it starts to the time it goes. Throughout the game, if you need to substitute players, you just substitute them in and take players out. Free substitution throughout the game. We do have about 3 middle school tournaments that are scheduled on our schedule throughout the state, either league or CIAC tournaments, and those games run a little bit less than 16 minutes. And as we go through the tournament, if we're starting to it's a hot day and we're getting towards the end of the day, we may change and alter the amount of time. But again, 3 athletes and 2 partners must be on the field at all times, plus the goalie, and the goalie is one of those 3 athletes. Okay, and unlimited free substitution as we go through. Soccer practice, it is important when you show up to a state tournament event. You can't imagine sending your high school boys or girls soccer team to the state tournament without ever having played before they got there. So it's critical that you put together, even if it's a scrimmage within your own team or the local team nearby, or even the high school team if you talk to the coach. But it's important that you have consistent, regular practices for multiple reasons. Besides developing skill and practice, it's also developing socialization and growth between the athletes and the partners. And more of that growth will happen during practice than it will during your tournament time. So regularly scheduled, consistent practices are critical to the overall success of what's going on. If you have, as I said earlier, games, interscholastic games with other schools, It's a great opportunity for you to scrimmage and set things up, and please keep us informed about those events. You'll be given in a packet. If you haven't gotten it, we can certainly send it to you, and it'll be included in this presentation. The specific rules for soccer about who can score and who cannot score. On the next sheet, the level 1 and the level 2 soccer games, which are the most competitive games, both athletes and partners can score. When the level 3, level 4, and level 5 games, only the athletes are allowed to score. And we can modify the rules as appropriate as we go through each of those rules. And we get through some of these next slides. Really competitive level 1 and level 2. If you're not sure what level your soccer team should be playing at, these slides here are a great indicator of the type of skills that are necessary. And when you show up or you register for a tournament, if you show up and it's obvious that you're in the wrong level, we will adjust and make sure that you can get to the level that you need to be at. But level 1s and level 2s are very competitive, generally played by high school rules. Level 3, limited ability, typically can dribble the ball around a little bit, but they pass the ball just because they're getting rid of it. And usually 1 or 2 people are scoring goals, and the whole team concept is still being developed at that level. Level 4 is a very recreational level. Players have difficulty moving the ball around, and wheelchairs are allowed at level 4 games, and the wheelchairs and the rules can be modified both for the recreational level 4 and recreational level 5. If you have questions about what level your team should be registered at, give us a call. Give us a call. We can talk you through it, and we will figure out what's going on. The level 5 recreational games, the only time that we're really not keeping score. Otherwise, as I said earlier, this is a competitive event, and the kids want to keep score. Everybody's keeping score, whether there's a scoreboard up or not, I can tell you that. And we will modify the rules as we go through. If you need to modify a wheelchair, there are some great ways of adjusting and modifying the wheelchair so that the soccer ball does not get caught up underneath the thing. It's just sometimes just as simple as a piece of styrofoam or a pool noodle somewhere along the way to keep that going. But if you have any questions about modifications, don't hesitate to give us a call, and we will work with you to make sure that you have anything. If any of you have any questions specifically about soccer and soccer games, key points: athletes are wearing even numbers, partners are wearing odd numbers. We certainly don't want to think of our athletes as being odd. Bob, I think that's it for soccer.
Yeah.
Hey, Coach, I have a question for soccer.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Coach John, what kind of balls do middle school participants use?
So the soccer ball for middle school would be the same soccer ball that they would use for high school competition.
Thank you, sir.
The basketball rules pretty much mirror the soccer rules. The Paul's just going to highlight those with you in case you don't get back to a training before then. It starts pretty quickly after soccer season is over for many schools. So Paul, you can take it away.
Hey, can I just say something about the size of the soccer balls?
Yes, please.
In the past, we have had teams, if they're a low level team and you want to slow down the ball, is to deflate the ball a little bit. It's a good tip.
Tom Brady
Yeah.
also goes along with that.
It's the Tom Brady rule. And the other thing just to add one more thing is when you come to a event, you may want to bring 1 or 2 soccer balls for your team to warm up with when they arrive at our events. Basketball, as John alluded to regarding soccer, here's a chart that stipulates how we score and run our basketball tournaments. And obviously levels 1 and 2, the partners may score, but they cannot score more than 50% of the points in a game. Levels 3, 4, and 5, non-disabled participants may not score, and their goal is to assist all our disabled athletes during the course of the contest, and that has worked out very well, very well. And so in the event, like for level 5, that you need to have someone in a wheelchair or walker, and they need a one-on-one individual with them, we do not count them as far as the numbers of individuals that are on the court at that given time. Bob, next slide. We recommend, once again, 12 players per team. If you should go past the number of 12, if you're in the 20 participant range, you should seriously consider registering 2 teams. One of the reasons, it gives all of your participants increased playing time, which is what we're trying to do. So if you have 50% of your team is non-disabled, that's going to be great. But we recommend that if you're bordering on 16 participants, then you start thinking about having 2 teams for every event. Males and females play together, and a maximum of 4 teams per school for CIC events. Each team should have 1 coach available to allow simultaneous play. So if you're going to have 4 teams, you need to have 4 individuals to coach.
Can I just interject there too, Paul? Because I think they talked about certification before. Only 1 coach per team has to hold the certification. So the others can be the assistant to the coach. Correct?
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So players on the court are 2 partners and 3 athletes at all times. Anyone, as I said before, needs a one-on-one aid. That aid will not count. That aid will count as 1 player with the athlete. You see a picture of that happening right there. Same thing with uniforms, especially with the sneakers in gymnasiums. I mean, many of our athletic directors are really wonderful about allowing us to compete at their school, and many of them have had their gym floors resurfaced. We really don't want to have kids playing in things like Uggs. That's for a safety reason. And second of all, we try to dissuade people from having black-soled sneakers because they leave marks on the gym floor. So we hate to have, we go into an event and black marks are all over the gym floor as we leave. Shirts have to be numbered. Obviously, John had alluded to that earlier. Even numbers for our non-disabled, for our disabled students and non-disabled students wear the odd numbers. So I got that right. The basketballs are a 28.5 women's size basketball. We really would like you to have a school banner for our opening ceremony. John had indicated that if you don't have one, there's we can have you sign up to have a banner made for your school. We want you to have your own water whenever possible, a med kit, and ice or ice packs. As you can see in the picture, we have hula hoops that allow the disabled students to shoot at any of the hoops to count as a basket. So that kind of makes it a lot easier and more fun for them when they participate.
And I just want to add in here, Paul, that the CIC Board of Control just passed the 30-second clock shot rule. And I just want to let people know we will not be using the shot clock in Unified this year.
Right. That's kind of true because most of the time it's 5 seconds and the ball goes. Okay, high school games will consist of roughly 20 minutes per game. If our tournament is large, we may cut that back down to 18 minutes. And sometimes we have to do that for a lack of gymnasium availability. So we try to work with our local high schools that afford us the opportunity to go there. So we want to be good neighbors. So we may have to adjust our schedule. And later on during the course of the day, kids are kind of gassed. So if they are, the coaches usually tell me that, gee, can we cut it back a little bit? Middle school events will be 16 minutes and level 5 will play 10-minute games with consistent running time. But sometimes we expand that. We expand that to 15 minutes because they're not tired and they
Right.
enjoy playing. Next slide. Yeah, there's no backcourt pressure. For those of you who are unaware of backcourt pressure means, basically, we don't want kids, when one team is trying to inbound the ball, the other team is standing right in front of them and chasing them all around the court. Basically, it means you have to go back beyond the half court line before you can start playing defense. Practice is important. We ask you that you have at least one practice a week and highly recommend 2. It doesn't have to be great length. Most people practice about an hour per day. So a Monday, Wednesday is probably a good day to have practice in a gymnasium at your school, and usually have that and talk to your athletic director to get some quality gym time, usually directly after school. I don't think you'll run into any problems with that. As we like you to do, if you do have what we call a scrimmage or an interscholastic game against someone else, we ask that you kind of inform us that you're doing that. So if a Seymour is playing Oxford and that's not an event that we have listed on our registration, we would like to know that you're doing that and how many kids attended. It really helps us with our numbers and our calculations. So that's important for us. Examples of drills in practice are fairly simple. Here you can see a foul shooting drill, passing drills, and you should start every practice with those types of drills and then have a mini scrimmage at the very end for the last maybe 5 to 8 minutes. Wheelchair athletes may compete on level 4 or 5 teams. As we said earlier, if that individual needs a partner, we count that as one individual. Many times we have athletes who will cradle the ball. As you saw that in the video at Mohegan, young lady was racing down the court in her motorized wheelchair with the basketball cradled in her lap and then scored at the lower basketball hoop. And it was quite exciting for everybody in attendance, including her.
I just want to familiarize you with the registration process. If you go to CASCIAC.org, that's the main site for CAS and CIAC. You can also go to CIACsports.com. It'll get you the same place. You're going to click on the CIAC logo, and that will get you to the CIAC page. Oh. And where this big yellow arrow is directs you to the Unified Sports section. Not a button, it's just some text there. You click on that text that says Unified Sports, and it will bring you to our Unified Sports page. There's some general information and a number of tabs. You're welcome to explore those. But if you click on the Downloads and Entries tab, that will bring you to some interactive things, some downloads that you can get to. But you're going to go down to Submit Entries, Intent to Enter High School and Middle School. Click on that link, and that will get you to this form. We showed you a version of that before. So we'll say, you need to enter all the fall tournaments by a certain date or within, 2 weeks before that tournament. That's important for us to plan. And you're going to enter all the athletes and partners. Even if they're unable to attend that particular tournament, we want to get them on your roster. We're not so concerned that they're attending that day or not. You will receive an email nearly immediately to confirm your tournament entry, and then one about a week prior to the event to just confirm it, remind you that you entered, and any details that would be important. When you register, you must respond to all the answers with answers to all the fields, and you will be asked how many students attending, what level the teams are, and each team, you could register teams separately. So you do one registration for your first team, then a separate registration for your next team, so you have all your teams registered. Additions to the roster can be made here. I'll show you how that will look. And don't forget to hit submit. Some people do all this work to fill out the registration, and then they close their browser, figuring they were done. They didn't hit submit. They never entered. They never get the email. We never know that you're coming. And we would never turn a team away, but it was nice to know that they're coming. So you'll be asked for your team name. So if you have multiple teams, that could be, you know, Daniel Hand Black or Daniel Hand Gold or Daniel Hand Tigers. The school name, that'll always be the same. The telephone, we're interested, that's a school telephone, I think. The address, the city, town, zip code, all that kind of thing. Let's see if I'm missing here. Then you're going to choose the events you want to enter. So you'll click on the tournaments that you want to be included for that particular team. And we encourage you to click on the master team roster as well, or do that separately. You're going to designate the level that team is going to participate at. So this will be a drop-down box, and you can choose 1 to 5. 1 being the most skilled, 5 the least skilled. You're going to click on a number of wheelchairs and walkers on that team. And then you're going to fill out each student's name, date of birth, whether they're male or female, or athlete or partner. And then you do it for the entire team. You complete the principal information, the coach information, the coach's cell phone. Lots of times we're wondering if a school is planning to show up. Sometimes they're caught in traffic. Sometimes they forgot that was the day of the event. So it's important for us to be able to reach somebody to confirm whether you're coming or not. Your coach's email, just practice schedule just lets us know that you're cognizant that practice is important. You click the box that says your students have abided by your local regulations about physical exams. And then you click here to submit the form. Don't forget to submit the form. You will receive an email about a week before the event, as well as confirmation through the system. And if you don't receive a confirmation email that you registered, you probably didn't hit submit the form. Email us if you have any questions, and we'll be glad to help you out. Once you've filled out a roster, especially if it's your master roster, which makes it really easy, you can import that to subsequent registrations. So you'd find this term here. This is actually a link on the page. Click here to import school and roster information from another event, which will include your master roster. And you're going to import that information from, you choose your team, the roster you want to that you want to import from, and then it will populate with all that information you put in before, and then you can edit that or add to it if need be. But it's a time saver so that you put it in once a year, and then you can go from there. Any questions about registering? Great. Once again, we are supported by federally funded program through Special Olympics North America, and from our sponsors, and from Special Olympics Connecticut. All those folks want to know about our numbers. How many athletes participating, how many partners participating, how many schools participating, how many events. So we spend a lot of time trying to run around and get that information. Whatever you can do to help us out, we really appreciate it. This is a repeat from the previous meeting part of the event. So we just, when we use this separately, we want to make sure that this is included. You saw our little video.
Bob, I just want to interject with if some of the coaches that are new
Yeah.
in some of this lingo, Unified Champion Schools is new to you. I just ordered a whole bunch of new Unified Champion School playbooks, which have been developed by Special Olympics for the high school, middle school, and elementary. So if you would like more information on what a Unified Champion School can look like in your school, and you're newer to some of these concepts, I would be more than happy to send you a playbook that's appropriate for the grade level of the students that you're working with.
Great. Anybody have any questions?
Coach Bob, yes, I have a question. Is there any funding for transportation to the tournaments?
Yeah, are you a new school, Don?
No, Jockey Hollow's been participating before. It's just that we just have issues trying to get buses to go to various events in the town of Monroe. And I was just curious to knowing if there's any funding for a bus to a tournament.
Yeah, send us an email about the particulars and we could look at that. We're low on bus funding now. We're finding that most of the issue is not the funding, it's the availability of a bus.
Or a bus driver.
Yeah, but we may be able to help you out. Just email us about your concern and the specifics.
Thank you.
Anybody else have questions or comments? Recommendations? Complaints? There probably won't be any complaints, but thank you, Caitlin, for smiling at that. Well, I want to thank you for participating this afternoon and attending. We, once again, you guys are the linchpin of our entire program. We couldn't do it without you. And we wish you a great school year. And please let us know if there's anything we can do to help you in your journey and to have a great school year and a great unified year.